Fast food workers, what menu item do you hate making the most? Why? Grilled cheese. When I was working at Chick-fil-A, people would order these because their kid wouldn't eat anything else. The problem is we were not set up to make these, so we would have to put the hamburger buns with cheese in the press that we used for chicken salad sandwiches. They would always end up flat as a pancake and burnt, and the press would get covered in melted cheese. I used to work at Pizza Hut. I hated making the stuffed crust because you had to go get the string cheese from the walk-in, then roll it into the dough, then fix the pizza. When it was slow it's not too bad, but in a busy it's torture. My store didn't sell a lot, so that's why we didn't prep them. Man, I was expected to prep 20 every day when I opened by 3 PM. Steak and Shake. Spicy chicken sandwiches. They take frickin' forever in the fryer and they want our drive time as low as possible. Also pancake skillets in the morning. They aren't on the drive-through menu. Dine-in or carry-out only, but my managers will usually just give it to them if they complain enough. My god, I salute you Steak and Shake workers. I see you elbow to elbow getting blasted by steam from the grill and wonder how none of you pass out. The dining hall I used to work in had a station where they would make your pasta bowl to order, Subway style. It wasn't good for anyone. The Pizza Hut I work at used to make a garlic knot pizza. Instead of a crust, about 16 little balls of dough and cheese were placed on the crust. Even the slightest breeze would knock the knots off the dough in the oven, either ballooning and covering the other pizzas with burnt dough, or get stuck in the conveyor belt. Thankfully that didn't last long. That sounds amazing, though. Buffalo chicken tachos. Drop boneless wings, onion strings and tots down in fryer. Plate nacho chips on an oven tray. Top the chips with queso cheese sauce, tots, and shredded cheese and melt cheese in oven. Toss wings in buffalo sauce. Pull out nachos from the oven. Top them with bacon bits, boneless wings. Drizzle ranch dressing and buffalo sauce on top. Garnish with fresh onion strings and chopped green onions. I want this in my mouth. Barista in a cafe. Preparing myself for smoothie season, as it is nearly upon us. Only have one blender. Fellow baristas and I joke about moving to Smoothie City. Basically getting stuck working the blender when it's busy and there's constantly a smoothie blended coffee to make. Frickin' sucks, man. I used to work at a carnival, and one of our items was fried cheese on a stick. Don't get me wrong, it's fricking delicious. The problem was the deep fryer had a strange hydraulic profile within its bulk hot oil, so you would have to kind of lob it into the deep fryer, sort of like skipping a stone, or the cheese would sink to the bottom, then explode and float to the top. Good times. We had a corn dog place in the 80s at one of our malls. I'm pretty sure it was just called Corn Dogs. They had that fried cheese on a stick thing and I loved it. With as much crap people fry these days, and people's penchant for wanting food on a stick, I don't get why they don't still make them. They also had really kick-ass pink lemonade. I used to work at McDonald's and making the oatmeal was the freaking worst because for one you'd always end up burning yourself on the hot water, and for two the customers would bring it back every time because some people like it watery and others like it thick, and we'd have to keep remaking it and it'd hold up the drive-thru, or they'd make a scene about how we don't know how to make oatmeal. And don't get me started on fries no salt. Overly customized food items that no longer resembled the original thing ordered by customers. Yes, we know, they're delicious. But your 89-cent grilled cheese minus the cheese with wheat buns and bacon added with a splash of 500 sauces and ketchup and grilled onions is technically no longer a cheese sandwich but a completely different franchise's chain item. Bound to send our cooks into a yelling rage at the cashiers, or to completely forget to remake the item, and then we get corporate called on us and grilled by our managers for hours behind the scenes for food waste and being told we cannot directly refuse a request but must minimize freebies on food items. If I need to make more than 2 modifications to my food, I get something else. I don't know why I have this rule, or where it came from. Dumb secret menu Starbucks drinks. Customers really do believe we have a super secret menu and can make anything comprising a dozen ingredients off the top of our heads during a rush. And worse is when they complain about the taste, like I'm supposed to know the flavor profile of a Pokeball Frappuccino. The Pokemon Go Frappuccino was an official drink though, we have a drink card for it. I know this isn't anywhere near the horrors of past posts, but I worked at Hardee's and was a biscuit maker. I made biscuits, washed all the morning shift dishes, and helped everyone else in the kitchen. I have multiple scars on my arms from the pans, and I would wake up from dreams at night and flinch because I burned myself on a pan or yelled hot biscuits. I am a biscuit maker, like my father before me. So I work at Subway and, while nothing is absolutely horrendous, I hate when people choose the cheddar cheese slices. They are so stuck together that it takes me way too long to pull apart, and I can feel the customer silently judging me for taking a good 30 seconds for fricking cheese slices. Also, meatball sub on flatbread with all dressed veggies is the one I have nightmares about. Don't do it, please. What you might not know when you're ordering a sandwich is that there is a very short moment that occurs while you're saying "Oh, I want," where I pray to the sandwich gods that you don't want double or dressed veggies. My Subway sandwich order is just bread, meat, cheese, mustard, not toasted, and I swear sometimes the employees look like they're going to cry with relief. I could never handle food service, so I'm happy to be an easy sandwich. I work at Culver's. The cod and walleye fillies are a pain in the butt because we have to coat them each in flour, then cover them in batter for every order, and they take 4 minutes to cook. Yo frick Lent. I worked there for 3 years in high school. One year I was the only one able to keep up on fish on Fridays, so I was the fish bee that year. Also, frick the people that would get a crispy chicken or tenderloin on a gluten-free bun. Ugh. I work at Chipotle. Quesadillas are the absolute worst to make. Sure, they taste good, and we are usually happy to make one for you if there is no line. But when there is a line to the door, and you want a quesadilla, me and the other customers will be peeved because it holds up the line so much. And God forbid you want more than one, or the person behind you sees it and say, "Oh, that looks good, I'll get one of those too." I might not even to be able to give a fake smile at that point. And it burns the ever-loving crap out of your hand when you try to separate the dang tortilla. Used to work at Tim's. Ice caps were my most hated item. Dang machine never fully froze the syrup mix, so it always sprayed everywhere when you stuck it under the blender. When I worked at McDonald's for a bit in my youth, I always hated filling the ice cream machines. It is some greasy mixture that smells like vomit and rotten milk, and if you spill it, have fun cleaning up for like an hour and smelling like it for the rest of the shift. I'm quite certain everyone hates filling those things. Either that or they're the least reliable machines ever constructed. Hungry Jack's, Burger King in Australia. Employee, our grill master Angus range. Now don't get us wrong, they rake in lots of money. However, these burgers must be perfect or we get in trouble. There's often higher ups posing as customers that check the meat is to be cooked to order, rather on hold in heating units like the other meat, wasting 6 minutes on a 2:30 time limit. The burger has to be made perfectly. Those untrained seriously have to weigh the burger on scales to make sure they add exactly the correct amount of product. Almost 9 minutes into the 2:30 time limit, it's finally done. And then the next customer drones over the speaker box, "Can I get an Angus beef bacon NG?" Crappy feedback screech said. Well, time to cook another. Burger King veggie burgers. We basically have to wait 2 minutes to cook them in the microwave. So not only is it time consuming, especially when someone orders it for the drive-thru, it smells terrible. Wendy's veteran. Probably the no salt fries. Our store's policy was to fry up a new batch of fries, just enough for that order. While they were frying, we lined the fry bin with our foil burger wrappers so that the fries wouldn't touch any residual salt in the bin when we took them out of the fryer. It was a tremendous hassle, and 90% of the time it was for some jerk who thought they had discovered the fast food cheat code for always fresh fries. To boot, corporate made a really big deal about drive-through speed at the time. We were supposed to average below 90 seconds per customer or get an earful, and one single order of no salt fries would frick the timer because they take 3 minutes to cook. One evening I was working the register for the dining room and drive-thru gets a no salt fries order. Our grill guy takes some of the already fried and salted fries and puts them back in the fryer for a little bit, then serves them as no salt. The Mexicans at my store had been doing this for a while to save the drive-thru timer because they had correctly figured most of the customers just wanted fries that were hot. And they didn't really understand there were people out there who shouldn't be eating salt, or why those people would be ordering fast food, but I digress. The customer sees a grill man doing this through the drive-thru window and immediately after getting his food comes into the store and starts yelling at me while I have no idea what is going on. He then starts pointedly jabbing his finger at our grill guy behind the counter yelling, "I saw you refree those." Our grill guy is pretty dang tall and doesn't seem to be in the mood to take a customer complaint, and for a few seconds it looked like these two guys were gonna come to blows across my counter. I think it ended with the guy storming out screaming he was gonna get our grill guy fired. He wasn't. My dad used to work at a Wendy's when he was in high school. Even after having seen action in Desert Storm and the Gulf War, the only time he had ever woken up in cold sweats was after having nightmares of him having to make never-ending triple and double cheeseburgers. I guess that's some traumatizing crap. I used to work at McDonald's. Towards the end of my time there I started having nightmares every night about it. It was emotionally draining every day. I quit ASAP after it got so bad. No Subway yet, so I'll throw my buckle cap into the fold. Chopped salads. Look, it's okay if you're getting one. Two is too many, and if there's a line, forget about it. The problem with the chopped salad as opposed to a regular salad is that it's all mixed and we have to scrape the bowl to get it out. This is okay when there's no line, but if there's a rush I have to switch gloves and that takes an extra 10-15. It adds up. It's annoying. Also, if you get a meatball sub on flatbread you are why we can't have nice things. If you get a double meatball sub on flatbread I'm always tempted to show you how to close that freaking thing. You're a terrible person. Get bread. So what about a triple meatball extra mayo and tomato? Gimme that slippery little freaking sandwich. Taco Bell employee here. Cheesy frickin' roll-ups. It's just melted cheese on a tortilla. You can make 30 at home for less than $3. Why order 10 of them? And they always order 10 of them at $1 each. If I've learned anything from this job, it's that cheesy roll-ups are for garbage people. Sometimes I want Taco Bell and if the kids are in the car, all they will eat is cheesy frickin' roll-ups. I don't order 10 of them though. I worked at a sort of Subway but for pizza kind of place that offered unlimited toppings for one price. I hated people that tried to take advantage of it for multiple reasons. 1. They always acted so freaking smug about getting all these ingredients on the pile like they were really screwing us over. Like, man, I don't care, I'm paid an hourly wage, stop smirking and winking at me. 2. These things end up looking like mountains so the bottoms burned quick, the tops burned quick, and heaven forbid if you moved it in the oven crap flies everywhere. Mandatory oven cleaning after, and then you have to cut their mug. 3. Your pizza will not taste good so what's even the point? Buddy, you added the entire vegetable category minus the carrots we use for salads and nearly all the meats with extra buffalo chicken. It's not going to end up tasting like anything at all. Hard fried crab. No question. If you don't know what it is, let me explain to you using this step-by-step guide. 1. First you have to grab a crab from the freezer, crack the crab open, and take the insides out of it. 2. Next, you have to grab a crab cake and put it on top of the crab you just broke up in step 1. 3. Put all of that in batter without the crab cake falling off or breaking up, otherwise, you have to start over and throw away crab cake. Wonderful. 4. Next, put it in the fryer, also big enough to take up half of one fryer. Very inconvenient for other orders, and wait for 10-12 minutes. 5. While the hard crab is cooking you need to grab 2 big paper bags and stuff one in the other. Afterwards you have to stuff the second bag with lots of wax paper to prevent the crab from burning through the bag. 6. Ding ding. Congratulations. Your hard crab is officially done. Now you've got to take the hard crab out and let the crabby sit for 2 minutes outside of the fryer. 7. Last but not least, you have to put the hard crab in the bag without the claws ripping the bag, or the crab cake shell breaking. That's all there is to it. Now, try to imagine having 7 of those in one order. D. So I've worked at Taco Bell for a while, and the most hated thing on the menu is almost unanimously quesadillas. Now, by themselves, they're not horrible, and they're not even really that hard to make. It's the quantity and the tediousness of them that kills us. Here's a walkthrough of how to make a chicken quesadilla. 1. Heat a 10 in. Taut for 5 seconds on each side. 2. 1 scoop of chicken. 3. 1 zed of creamy jalapeno sauce. 4. 2 ounces of 3 cheese blend. 5. Steam for 1 cycle. 6. Grill for 17 seconds. 7. Place in windowed wrap and cut into 3 equal pieces. Now, that's not so bad, but here's the thing. Most lines only have 2 steamer paddles and 2 grill platforms. This means that you can only have 2 quesadillas grilling or steaming at one time. What happens when someone orders 5? What about when there are multiple orders with multiple quesadillas? It's just a huge hassle for the line cooks, as not much else can be done while the quesadillas are cooking because our equipment is taken up. This stresses people out because our window timer has 3 categories. Order: how long it takes the customer to order their food. Max time 75 seconds. Window: how long the customer waits at the window for their food. Max time 75 seconds. OTD: order to delivery, from the start of the order to the departure from the DT pad. Max time 3.5 minutes. These metrics are easy when we're fully staffed and not too busy, but Fridays and Saturdays they're dang near impossible without overstaffing. And even then, it's a stretch. This leads to a lot of unsteamed quesadillas and a lot of unhappy customers. Don't let this sway you. Get what you want. It's our job to make it. Just please be a little understanding if it takes a minute. Most of the time, the people working line are sweating their asses off to meet time constraints. Worked at Wendy's in high school near a sports complex. We're talking 5/6 baseball fields, soccer fields, playgrounds, flag football leagues, batting cages, mini golf, adult softball leagues, the whole schmoll. Bacon cheeseburgers and cheeseburger deluxes, and nuggets fries were $1 and everyone eats at least 2 items on that menu. Yes, so when games let out, it wasn't uncommon for one suburban to order 15-20 bacon cheeseburgers all the way to closing. That was horrible. And the grease. God. Emptying the grease buckets and having to pour it into the barrels out back. One time I stumbled and spilled grease all over myself and had to finish my shift soaked in grease meat chunks. I work at Captain D's. I freaking hate the seafood feast. It's the bane of my existence. For those of you who don't know, it's the family pack containing 12 fish, 12 shrimp, 12 hush puppies, 3 stuffed crab, and 2 family size sides. It sucks when it's ordered out of nowhere, but that's not the issue. The issue is that someone always seems to order it 10 minutes before we close. I used to work at KFC when I was a pup. The absolute worst are those family buckets. Seriously, frick those. The KFC standard was to throw in a mix of everything. That is, don't fill it up with wings, which everybody knows is the crappy cut. The problem is, when people order individual pieces of chicken or in boxes, they pretty much always request breast or drumstick. They're the better bits, so you're pretty much always short on them. So come time to throw together heart disease in a box, you either 1. Wait for more chicken to come off the fryer and pee off the already hungry monster of a customer, or 2. Throw in the mostly wings and pray to God the customer doesn't call and complain to your boss who already hates you because they hate themselves in the job. Also, to throw another spanner in the works, after a while working at that greasy heck, all of the chicken pieces start to look alike anyway, so you don't even know what's going into the boxes half of the time. Former McDonald's worker, anything that had more than 6 ingredients was a grind. Might not seem like much, but if you get 4 or more of those burgers in a very short amount of time, everything clogs up and you basically have to start your rhythm again. Oh, and coffees. People expect a world-class blend with perfect milk. We're underpaid teenagers. It's not gonna be world-class. When I worked at Starbucks on base, I used to hate making frappuccinos when we were busy. They just take so much time and usually I was the only one working. I work at Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers and by far the worst thing to make on the menu is the 100 finger tailgate. There are worse, but not actually on the menu. And of course adding multiple tailgate orders and or jugs makes it even worse. But the 100 finger is the worst single item. Dropping 100 fingers in all of 3 fryers and trying to put it together while maintaining a 2:30 drive-through average kills me every time. Freaking tacos at Jack in the Box. We would have stoners and drunk people come through the drive-through at midnight ordering 50. At Wendy's, the 2 big things are triple baconators, pain in the butt to wrap because we need to use 2 sandwich wrappers, and our snack wraps, grab a wrap. Put a V of ranch honey mustard, sprinkle some lettuce, sprinkle some cheese, cut a half piece of chicken. Try and wrestle the little bastard into a decent shape. Junior cheese deluxes are annoying, too, and so are the Asiago Ranch clubs. AWW man, I love the Asiago Ranch clubs. They are perfect. Any kind of burrito with additional toppings, double meat, double rice and beans. Tortillas are super thin, and making it a quesarito does help, but wrapping them is still a nightmare. They always end up the size of a small child, especially since the place I work doesn't even specialize in burritos. I want this $1 menu item, but make it fresh. I don't want old food, sir. We keep our food as fresh as possible, and if you are going to be a demanding T, at least order real food. He who goes to a fast food restaurant expecting fresh food is always disappointed. Confucius. Add DQ. The peanut butter cookie dough smash takes forever to blend through, and a lot of the stuff ends up getting everywhere. I only worked the counter and drive-through back when I worked at McDonald's, but I came to hate McRibs. The meat sits in a small vat of barbecue sauce. It smelled like butt. McDonald's veteran kitchen, more like barbecue mace. Not exactly fast food, but we sell fries and you have to get them from people behind a counter, so close enough, I hope. Concession stands at various local venues. It's a volunteer job for charity. Nachos are the bane of my existence. The chips are just regular little round tortilla chips and they come in regular sized bags. You have to stand those little suckers up and pack them together into those little freaking trays, and it takes approximately 90 seconds per tray to do it properly. Now multiply that by 50 to 100 on a busy night. When I worked at McDonald's, I hated making the ice cream cones because no matter what I did, I couldn't make the pretty, swirly cones everyone else could make. Mine always ended up in disastrous ugly heaps. You have been visited by the ingenious Joe. Comment brain so you always see the glass half full. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.